I'm here at the overseas call centre of a large insurance company. With me is customer service team leader Mr. Bolte. Mr. Bolte, how easy is it to provide great insurance service to your customers?
Well, we're on another continent. You can never get through. We've no idea who you are, and we're only allowed to work from a script with the information on the screen in front of us. Frankly, you'd be better with High House.
High House Insurance, your local experts. High House Insurance don't pay to be on comparison websites, so your premiums are better value. For a free, no-obligation quote, call Selsey 606 552. High House, local, reliable insurance. High Street, Selsey.
Hello, and a warm welcome to Manhood Internet Radio. I'm Tony Weiner, your host for this week's show. And what a fascinating show we have, particularly if you are looking for things to do for yourself or your children. We start with Moira, who will tell us all about her mobile pottery studio over at Garage Ceramics, and this is followed by Emma from Birdcage Farm, who runs craft workshops. Roger and Francis Peterson tell us all about their new Undertaker business on the Trident Trading Estate, and we finish with one of Kevin's quizzes. So, over to Keith, who is talking to Moira.
Right, with me in the studio now, I've got Moira Strickland, and Moira's from Garage Ceramics, and they do mobile pottery painting and things like that. And they come to you, which is a great idea, of course. Good morning, Moira.
Morning, Keith.
Now, tell us a little bit about what you do with Garage Ceramics, bearing in mind that I know nothing at all about ceramics.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder how much I know as well. It's a mobile pottery painting studio. I can go to all ages. Everybody says, oh, how lovely. It's just the children's birthday parties, which I do, but I can do hen parties. I've even done stag parties. And I go out and I visit residential homes. I go to nursing homes. I go to Brownie Scouts Guides. If it's legal and it's to do with pottery, I get involved in that.
I wasn't going to ask about the stag parties or the hen parties. Come to that.
But I take the pottery shapes and I take all the paints and the glazes and the stamps and the stencils and help people to decorate it. You know, sometimes they hate it, sometimes they love it. I go into St Wilfrid's Hospice and work with their day centre, which is lovely. The best thing ever though is to go in and work with the children in the Chestnut Tree House Hospice, where they have sessions on holidays, and I've known some of these kiddies for quite a while, and talk about the abuse I get when I go in there with some of the boys. They love it, and they love getting messy, and they are so matter of fact about their illnesses, and it's a lovely place over there, so I love going in and doing that.
Yes, this is a wonderful place.
Yeah, fantastic. But I can, if you're thinking of getting married or having a special anniversary or something, I decorate. I do commission work as well. So, people can find me on Facebook under Garage Ceramics.
So if I wanted some sort of ceramic piece for my wedding anniversary, I'd just come to you and say, look, Moira, it's me, whatever it is, I'm coming up now, 50th, I think, getting that way.
You look far too young.
And thank you. And you'd come up with some ideas, because people like me are very short of ideas when it comes to things that they don't know about.
That wouldn't be a problem. All you do is I'd ask you some questions like you're asking me now, and we'd come up with a plan. And a lot of my pieces are quite large, and if you're having this event, say you're having a big anniversary party, you can get everybody to sign the piece so that you've got a record of everybody that attended your event.
Right.
So I did a piece for a person down here in East Wittering. Was a 50th birthday party, I think. Her sister commissioned me, or said they want to sign a bowl. And you, instead of having a book where people sign messages and things, you sign them on a bowl. And the person concerned, whose birthday it was, didn't even realise this bowl was being handed round. And she had rather a good night, if you know what I mean. You can't remember some of it. But when the bowl appeared from her sister after I'd finished it, she was able to sit down and read all the names of everybody that had been to her party. So it was a nice memory piece.
So when she looked at it in the morning, she knew who knew the state she was in the night before.
No, because she didn't see the bowl for about a week after, because it has to be glazed and fired.
Okay, fine. Right, Moira, what events have you got upcoming in the local area?
Well, at the very gorgeous, temptingly vintage tea rooms in the High Street in Selsey on the 27th of April, we're doing after school pottery painting session. It'll be between 3 and 5, but you have to book. So it's a good idea to get hold of Alana at Temptingly Vintage Tea Rooms.
Okie dokie. Well, there's something to look forward to. After school painting. Kids and paintbrushes. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Well, if you can make it along there, that'd be great. Temptingly Vintage in the High Street in Selsey, 27th of April.
But you must get in touch before and book.
Okay, fine. Now, you say you do hen parties, weddings, corporate team building. I mean, corporate team building, especially, it strikes me as not a bad idea.
It can be.
Having been on many corporate team building exercises, none of them have as yet have been as interesting as doing something with ceramics.
Well, you're not making ceramics; you're just painting it. But it is amusing, and for me sometimes, especially if you get a room full of gentlemen. And I'm not being sexist about this, because they all decide that they can't paint anything except walls and ceilings, and haven't done anything like this since school. And the first one I ever did, which was about 10 years ago, was a group of accountants, finance department for a company. They wanted them to get to know one another and everything else. And it was hilarious, because they kept talking about work, which was not the idea. The idea was to get to know each other. And I had done this little quiz thing for them, which we started running through. But they kept looking at me and saying, well, you don't know what we're talking about anyway. And unfortunately for them, I did, because I used to be in corporate finance and I knew all the terms and everything else. And we got on really well. I had a little bit of fun with that. But they then really did enjoy it. And they all painted their own mugs for their tea room. And some of them painted them for somebody else. And it was good fun. It was good fun. And some of them have subsequently brought their children to me to do what I do a lot of, is handprints and footprints.
Oh yes, yeah,
which are lovely memory pieces. Particularly when you end up with a very stroppy teenager and you think, oh, what on earth did I have this child for? And then you look at the really cute handprints or footprints on these small pieces of pottery, and it reminds you how cute they used to be.
Yes, I may well look into that with you for my granddaughter, who's only a few months old at the moment.
Oh, there's nothing nicer. Nothing nicer.
It might be a good idea you've planted in the head. Now, if people want to contact you, want to get hold of you and find out what you do or what you can do for them, how do they contact you?
Well, they can contact me on Facebook. Lots of people have Facebook, and it's just Garage Ceramics. Or my website is all the W's, and it's mobilepotterypainting.co.uk. Or you can phone me on 07 832 209 180. Leave a message if I'm off chatting with somebody else, and I'll get back to you.
Well, that's brilliant. Well, thanks very much for coming in today, Moira.
Pleasure, nice to meet you.
Just giving us a small insight into some of the things that you're capable of doing with ceramics. And I'm sure it's going to raise some interest, because it's one of those things that I don't think people know is out there at the moment. So...
well, as my card says, you supply the venue and I'll bring the pottery.
Which is a great idea. Yeah, wonderful idea. Well, thanks once again for coming in. And maybe we'll catch up with you again in the future and get an update on how you're doing.
That would be nice. Thanks, Keith.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Keith and Moira. A fascinating business. And now back over to Keith again, who is talking to Emma about craft workshops.
With me now, I've got Emma Gray from Birdcage Barn, the Emporium that is on the Burdham Road.
That's correct.
And you're going to tell us today about your crafting workshops.
Yep, definitely. So we run a host of crafting workshops from the age of 5. So our children's workshops and parties, we can arrange parties as well. But the workshops are based on things that they can do and not have to have any particular skill, but we'll teach everything as we go. So we do wet felting, we do T-shirts, we do weaving, which is much more exciting than it actually sounds. We do little weave dollies, and they're They're very cute. Our parties, we do frames and decoupage, which is really good fun for the kids, and then we get them to dress up in silly costumes and then take a photograph of them, which goes in the frame, and they obviously take all of that home.
All right.
At the grown-up workshops, we do jewellery making, fused glass, painting with chalk paints, and our chalk paint courses run from a very quick sort of 2-hour whistle-stop tour of what the paint is able to do, and then we then build on that knowledge with people right up to the point when they could bring their own piece of furniture and their own project, and I will simply tutor them through getting the look that they want to achieve at the end of it, and all different techniques, including typography and stencils.
So there'll be houses full of shabby chic
Full of
furniture.
painted furniture.
People going out
Yes.
buying brand new furniture and taking it
painting it.
over, painting it.
And we do fused glass workshops, which are interesting. They're not run by myself, they're run by another lady, but she's an expert in her field, and that's great. And you can either make jewellery or sun catchers, and we've just added a new one in, which is little trinket bowls, which is really nice. So, and they're great for yourself, or if you wanted to make a personalised gift. Ideal course. It's and £25 for 2 hours, and you get at least 1 or 2 items. So yeah, that's really good fun.
Sounds like.
We've also got a couple of community groups, mainly for adults. Our Knit and Natter group, which takes place the last Monday of every month, and we're just opening a textiles group as well, and that's all about sort of getting people out, bring your own projects, and we all help each other out when we're stuck with patterns or cutting or whatever the case may be, and there's lots of knowledge in those rooms, so it's good fun to get together.
Knit and Natter.
Yeah,
That
Knit and
sounds
Natter.
It sounds to me like it's just an excuse to get all together and sit and have a natter and a cup of tea and a piece of cake, and the knitting would come
That's
last
what,
on
there's
the
a
list.
couple of ladies do knit, but I tend to just eat the cake and drink the tea.
And I don't blame you for that. So have you got any special events coming up?
Yeah, it's a May half term for the children. We've got on the Wednesday and Thursday, we'll be running workshops right the way through the day. We run 4 workshops, they're an hour long. It's worth booking them because in the second week of the last holiday, they did start to sell out. So I think now people are realising that we do them. They're £5 a head, regardless of what the classes are. And they're felting, jewellery making and weaving and button cards during the holidays. And then our grown-up workshops take place throughout the month, every month. We produce a list, and it's on the website and on our Facebook page, so people can go on and see what's available and which ones have got spaces left in them.
Okay, so if people want to contact you, they can do so.
Absolutely, on email, which is spoilyourself@birdcagebarn.co.uk. They can ring through to the shop, which is 01243 512 536.
You didn't sound very certain about
Oh, it's a new number. Or indeed on the webpage. At the minute, if they log on, they will find a holding page, but that will only be there for a couple more days because we've got a new webpage just being built for us. So,
Well
yes.
done. Well, thanks for coming in, Emma, and just updating us about what's happening down
That's
at
quite all right. My pleasure.
down at Birdcage Barn Emporium.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for that interesting discussion. And now something we all need eventually, unfortunately, and it's Keith talking to Roger and Francis about their new Undertaker business.
Right, with me now I've got Roger and Francis Patterson, although Francis says she's going to sit at the back and keep quiet. You may or may not have seen their business. I drove past it a few times before I actually noticed it was there. And it's a business that you don't want to use too often, in fact probably only once, because they're undertakers. Their new business is Agincourt, and it's on the Trident estate, Chichester Road. You come out of Selsey on the left-hand side, and if you look over now, you'll see it says Agincourt. But it's an undertaker's with a bit of a difference, because if you look at some of the vehicles that they can use, or that they would use if you want them, some of these vehicles are older than most of the residents in Selsey, and that's saying a lot. Right. They've got some lovely vehicles. And I also believe you use coach and horses, do you?
Yes, we do.
So,
Yes, we have the hearse, horse-drawn hearse. It's always on show in our showroom with all the other artefacts that go with our trade, and can be seen at any time by customers that wish to use our services.
So you've got there's an actual showroom there?
Yes, we have.
Because, as I say, most people, where it is, most people just drive past and they'll see the name Agincourt a few times before they'll identify it with anything.
That's right. As I say, we opened up just last October in time for the 600th anniversary of the Battle of Agincourt, and we get that name because it was my father's middle name. And my grandfather gave all his children, 6 children, all their middle names after boats that he served on during the Royal Navy, which he was a lifetime server. And my dad he felt lumbered actually with Agincourt and kept it very quiet. But I can assure you it goes down very well when you're pulled up by the police and they say, well, who does this vehicle belong to? And as soon as you mention Agincourt, they sort of slightly stand to attention.
Yes. I pity the one that got the name Ark Royal as a second name, but there we go.
Repulse is the one.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Right, now, as you say, you started a few months ago in Selsey. I believe you were in the business, as it were, in London.
In Fulham, that's right, since 1933. And
you don't look anywhere near old enough for that,
no.
I've got to say.
My father, of course, established that in 1933. Yes, and we've, by chance, come to Selsey, primarily for our son, but we love it too.
It's a little bit different to Fulham, certainly.
Absolutely. He's Down syndrome, and he can have the freedom far more down here than in London.
Yes,
and safer.
Yes, yeah. No,
absolutely.
In the present day and age,
yeah.
Selsey is still a little bit of a backwater.
Yeah.
And it's long may it remain so, in my opinion. I love it as it is.
One road in, one road out.
Yeah, and that'll do, yeah.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, when they're moaning about that road in and out, when they're stuck behind a tractor or stuck behind a horse and cart or whatever, just be careful what you wish for, because if they put a big fast road in there,
they'll kill it.
Selsey will go down the pan.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's very difficult to get onto more cheerful notes when you're talking to an undertaker, and I've never had to do it before. Everybody talks about the cost of funerals nowadays being horrendous. There's probably only one person that doesn't worry about it, of course. What would the costs of the average funeral be? I mean, I know it's very difficult to define the average funeral because there are so many variants.
Yes, of course. And we find this is getting more and more prolific in as far as customers are concerned, where money and cuts, of course, government funding and cuts are being made. Which obviously reflects on people's access to funds for this inevitable occurrence in our lives. But we are proud to say that our prices start at £1,500 for cremation. And we have our own chapel on our premises in Selsey. We can hold a small service there, even a reception if people wanted it afterwards, and at £1,500 that takes a bit of beating.
I'd say that's remarkable, because that's far below figures
that's right. We do quite a number in London at that figure, and that's our starting price. So and of course then you can go up the scale, but that's the foundation we work from, and we're proud to say that we are one of the cheapest in the land.
Budget burials.
Yes.
Oh. It's I mean that is remarkably cheap, because you hear people say, well, you can't even get buried for under £6,000 or cremated for under £6,000 nowadays. £1,500, big difference, because with people's assets, as it were, I mean, most people own their own house, or a lot of people own their own properties, but they can't get at that money. Well, they can, but it's usually a con. But they, so they've got money, but they're tied up there.
It's tied up in capital.
And when you die, then your family usually has to find the money from somewhere to bury you, or be cremated, or whatever, to pass you on. And they've not always got £6,000 or £10,000 stuck in the bank to. And
a lot of people who haven't got any collateral at all,
absolutely,
have to rely on the DWP, which we work very closely with, of course. As I say, at that sort of price, well, you won't get cheaper anywhere.
No, I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so.
Not in a decent burial.
Yeah.
It really boils down to, are there any relatives left?
Mm.
That's the criteria.
Yeah.
You know.
And of course, you've got all these wonderful different old vehicles that you can use. Just browsing through some photos that you showed me there.
That's right.
You know, somebody wanted a splendid send-off.
Oh,
I'm sure you could do that for them.
Absolutely, and it looks wonderful with all the plumes on her, which date back to 1860. They came off of a horse-drawn hearse, but they certainly put the finishing touches to her. And of course we've got modern, and we've got 5 hearses, 2 black, 1 grey, 1 white, and of course the 1906, which is the you know.
Just one question.
Top of the
I mean,
tree.
if somebody wanted to make use of the horse-drawn hearse,
Yes.
and they wanted to be cremated, that's a bit of a ride from here to Chichester, isn't it? Is it doable? I mean,
That's doable, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no problem. No problem. Horses like a trot like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's just amazing, that, because the thought of... I've been stuck behind most things between here and Chichester. You know, milk floats, cyclists. I've never been stuck behind a horse-drawn hearse. And I'm fairly placid when I'm driving because you can't go anywhere. It's one road in, one road out. I might have a few words to say if I was stuck behind a hearse. Horse-drawn hearse, yeah. Anyway.
And we've just acquired our own stables now in Selsey.
Have you?
Yes. So we've got room there for 6 horses. We've got 2 at the moment, which are our Joe's horses, and which is great therapy for him, and he can ride them. We can ride one at the moment. The second one's a yearling, so she's too young for a minute. Our horse drawn for the hearse are in Clanfield at the moment.
Oh, right, yeah.
So they're a pair of black Belgians, beautiful horses, which match the hearse. So yeah, beautiful. Absolutely.
So whether you want a grand send-off or whether you want just a cheap version, because if you like me, people think I come from Yorkshire. I'm so tight, but I don't. But yes, if you want a grand send-off for your member of your family, I can certainly see that it wouldn't come much grander than what you've got.
Absolutely, and we do caskets and full range, whatever a willow basket, you know, the lot.
They seem to be quite popular nowadays, don't they? The willow.
The willow, yes, they are.
And I believe they even make coffins out of cardboard now.
Yes, but believe it or not, they're not that cheap.
No?
No, everybody thinks they must be about, £2 bob, but they're not.
You would think
they're
so.
not.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I can do a wooden veneer cheaper than I can do a cardboard. Believe it or not. It's just,
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You go and buy your own bit of tribal, knock yourself up a collapsible box, you can stick it behind the wardrobe in your bedroom and it's there for when you need it.
Yeah.
And then it won't go up in price, of course. Well, thanks for coming in and just enlightening us.
That's a pleasure.
About Agincourt and the business that you're in. It's not an easy business for me to talk about, I've got to say. Maybe because I know very little about it and I'm just likely to put my foot in it and ask all the wrong questions. But it's certainly enlightened us some as to what you can expect from Agincourt.
Yes.
Now, when you go past there and have a look on the left-hand side as you go out of Selsey, you'll see it there. I didn't even realise there was a showroom there, so you can...
Showroom and chapel.
And chapel.
And refrigerated area for people that have to stay with us for a time, and embalming and every aspect of the business we cover.
Well, that's brilliant.
There we are, at affordable prices.
It certainly sounds like it.
Yeah.
It certainly sounds like it, Roger.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you well.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll enjoy living in Selsey.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure there are people that are living in Selsey at the moment that eventually will use your services and enjoy that as much as well. Thanks once again for coming in, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, and over to Kevin for his quiz.
Right, here we go with this week's quiz, Kevin's Connection quiz. There are actually 8 questions this week, but you have to work hard for this one, I think. But something connects all 8 answers. What is it? So question number 1. Who played Jim Royal in the Royal Family? Question number 2. Who was the original voice for Mickey Mouse? Question number 3, football question. Who was England's goalkeeper in the 1966 World Cup final? What was his name? Question number 4. What part did Buster Merrifield play in Only Fools and Horses? What was its character name? Question number 5. Which city has the oldest underground rail system in the world? Question number 6. What 5-letter word is a name for a female goat? Question number 7. In Britain, it is thought to be lucky to see a person of which traditional profession at a wedding? And question number 8. Which American actor starred in the TV series Diagnosis Murder? So lots of questions, but what connects all the answers?
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks to all the businesses for talking to us, as well as our wonderful radio team. And it's goodbye from me, Tony Weiner. Until next week. Bye.